Hi, I'm Cassandra, a couples therapist in California. And today we're diving into one of the biggest traps that couples can fall into. And it's trying to prove each other wrong in conversation. Does that sound familiar? And even the smallest conversation can turn into a huge courtroom debate. And if you feel like that sometimes happens in your communication, well, this might be helpful for you. Okay, so maybe you've been in a relationship for a longer time, maybe it's a shorter time. The two of you love each other regardless, and other areas of your life are going swimmingly. You love spending time together. But sometimes there are conversations that you just get started in and then they become landmines. You might say something simple and then it turns into a full-blown argument. Yeah? Does that sound familiar? Well, here's the thing. When you think that you are trying to win an argument, you're actually doing your relationship a disservice because there's no real winning an argument. There's nothing about that that's truly going to have you and your partner both feel seen and heard. And actually, what happens is that it really can do damage to the connection if you're really trying to, stick it to them and be right and show them how correct and right you are. And so what that does is it sets in motion a kind of attack mode that just does not help have a healthy relationship. And so what I want to do is offer just a couple of things that might be helpful just to improve your communication and also to get you out of that cycle of wanting to be right. Because you have to do these things in ways that allow both of you and your partner to feel heard and seen, and that there doesn't need to be this kind of push and pull, this tug of war. All right. So here we go. The first step is for you to take a pause. So pause the pattern. If you kind of ask yourself the question, is it what I'm about to say really going to be helpful for this conversation? If you aren't 100% sure that it's going to move it forward, take a pause, get your breath, breathe, and take a moment to just kind of come back to yourself. All right. And then in that moment, next step 2, is own your reaction. Even if they said something and they started it, if you react to that, that is just going to spiral you further away from where the two of you actually want and, need and want to be. And so what you might want to say to them is, in your reaction, rather than going off, right? You can maybe say, I'm feeling defensive right now. I just need a second, and use that second to pause. Okay. And so step number 3 is then engaging in leading with curiosity. So instead of kind of shaking your finger and saying, well, that's not what happened. That's not what was really what transpired, or that's not what really was the deal. Instead of doing that, take a moment and say to your partner, I really want to understand you right now, and it's a little challenging. So can you maybe rephrase that, or can you help me understand a little more about where you're coming from? All right, so let me review those steps really quickly once again. So the first step is, pause the pattern. The second step is own your reaction, right? Just kind of name it and own it. And the third is lead with curiosity. Right. So just kind of get in there and kind of invite conversation from a different place that's not about challenging your partner or trying to stick it to them. If you found this helpful, you might be interested in learning a few more ways to improve your communication with your partner. And that's where I can help. If you'd like, you can click the link below to schedule a discovery call with me, also known as a consultation. And we can kind of learn a little more about each other, and I can see how I might be able to help you and your partner communicate more effectively. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.